If you're a suburban type of person, but you don't want all that snow you hear some of the suburbs of Buffalo get, plus you only want to be 15, max 20 minutes going back inside the city whenever you want to have fun, you're probably going to be more interested in the northern suburbs, or what we like to call the North Towns. Now, these are areas like Clarence, Amherst, Cheektowaga, Tonawanda, and a couple more that we're going to be going over inside these videos. Now, let's jump on a map right here so that we can go over all these towns and the amenities that they offer you. What's going on, you guys? I hope all is well. We're about to get on the map because I really want to show you guys where a lot of the north towns are, or where you can find all of these things. So looking on the map here, I don't over romanticize this stuff, guys. When we're looking at a map of Buffalo right here, I'm the type of person, I just simply draw a line, right? So to me, this is north towns, right? Down here is going to be south towns, or South Buffalo, right? South Towns, I almost put Buffalo. South Towns, right? So today we're gonna be way up here looking, like I said, the Williamsvilles, the Kenmores, the Tonawandas, the Cheektowagas, the Amherst, right? The Snyder, the Clarence areas. This is what we are going to be talking about today. So now the first spot that we're going to talk about is going to be Cheektowaga. That's cheek, like your cheeks here, toe, T-O-Y-W-A-G-A, Cheektowaga, right? I know it's a hard thing to say because it's very different, but it's one of the best areas in Buffalo, or around Buffalo, I should say, because of the centrality. Look what you have around it. You have the airport, which in most cases, anywhere you live in Cheektowaga, you're going to be probably roughly 10 to 12 minutes away, no matter where you're living at, no matter if you're living in a 225 or the 227, which is going to be down. So 227 is going to be down this way. 225 is going to pretty much be right where my circle is right here, right? You got Cheektowaga. You also have the mall in your backyard too as well. And then also look at all the highways you have around you. You got the 90 here, you got the 290 here, you got the 33 here. All of this is going to be surrounding the Cheektowaga area, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, Cheektowaga school districts, they're going to be middle of the road, right? You're going to have Cleve Hill, Maryville, Central, and JFK. Those are pretty much going to be the 4 school districts inside of the Cheektowaga area. All of them are going to be middle of the road. Cheektowaga has also been lately that next step up out of Buffalo. Just look how close it is. You're only going to be about 15 minutes, I would say, maybe even 13 minutes away, getting it inside the city here, right? So you're not gonna be far whatsoever. Honestly, when I lived in Cheektowaga, I could hop right on the 33 here, getting off at Harlem, and I'll be downtown, especially when it was summertime and I had my bike, I could be downtown in 10 minutes, no exaggeration. And I'm talking about 8. If I'm pushing and there's no traffic, I'm hustling. Don't do that. I don't do that. But you can definitely get downtown in about 10 minutes either way you go. Again, you have all the majors of highways around you. You also have the mall inside of your backyard. You have the airport, again, 10 minutes away. And you are so centrally located, bouncing right back and forth inside the city there. You really cannot go wrong with the centrality of it's Cheektowaga. Now, when I say it's the next step out, look, this literally is outside of Kenmore, this is the closest suburb you can have. And a lot more people, what's attracting people to Cheektowaga is not only the decent schools. Again, you got middle of the road schools, but you also have an average price point of about $215 to about $225 over the last couple of years. So that's super attractive for those people trying to get outside the city, and the diversity is growing crazy over the last few years in Cheektowaga. A lot more people are starting to move out there. Again, that is the next step up outside of the city for a lot of different people. Now, what I will warn you about is the taxes in Cheektowaga has risen crazy over these last few years. Reason being, they had like 2 assessments in like 5 years, which is bonkers. I'm talking about, I know people whose taxes went up around $1,000 over like a year, 2 years. It was nuts, but that's what a lot of people are expecting now inside the Cheektowaga. When it comes to housing, you're gonna get either a Cape Cod, which is basically like a small 2-story, 1,500, 1,700 square feet or so, and a ranch. If you're looking in a 227 or this kind of area down here, which is called like, It's labeled Bellevue on the map, but we just call it South Cheektowaga for the most part. But Bellevue, closer to like the Depew area, or this is 14227. You can get a lot more square footage of a house, or you can get a bigger size double. This is where you're gonna find most of your bigger houses down here in this 14227. If you're looking in a 14225, which is gonna be this kind of big box here, 14225. This is where you're gonna have a lot of your Cape Cods or smaller two stories or ranches here. So something to take note of when it comes to Cheektowaga. Again, one of the most centrally located, one of the most affordable suburbs that you can have. Now let's get on into Kenmore, which was Buffalo's first suburb. Now, if we're looking at Kenmore here on the map, you can see it's not very big whatsoever, right? It's not big. Kenmore is no exaggeration, maybe 10, 20 blocks, right? And where this outline is, that's all at Kenmore. The beautiful thing about Kenmore is that this is the only walkable suburb. And I'm talking about true walkability. Like anywhere you live inside of Kenmore, you can walk to Delaware or Elmwood. So Delaware is going to be this street right here. All your shops, your bars, your cafes, right? Your it's a couple breweries over there. Some clay pottery at Terra Clay Pottery Studios. Like this is really where your walkability is going to be when it comes to a suburbs. Williamsville, to me, is a close second. Williamsville is walkable, but when it comes to Kenmore, I think it's more walkability because there's more access to Delaware and to Elmwood, in my opinion, right? Some people may argue with that. This is my opinion when it comes to Kenmore and the walkability, all right? You also have Main Park here, which is everybody can access this. I mean, this is a 2-minute drive or a 10-minute walk for anybody in Kenmore. Needless to say, Kenmore is really nice because it's the first suburb of Buffalo, right? But also, right, it also, in some cases, right, if you didn't know any better, you will probably blend this into North Buffalo. The housing structure, the character of the homes, the age of the homes, right? I mean, you're not getting a massive mansions like you'll get in North Buffalo, but you're getting a similar style of home when it comes to Kenmore, which is a beautiful thing. Now, that's one thing I do want to point out before we go any further. When it comes to Kenmore, right, one thing you have to worry about is basements in Kenmore. Kenmore is known for its water problems, right? Buffalo as a whole is swampy, as we always discussed. But Kenmore specifically, they're known for the water problems, and it's a lot of the times because it's either a cinder block foundation or a limestone foundation. Limestone foundations, you're going to get some dampness down there. Sub pump, dehumidifier, these are things that you are going to need down there. Most people have taken care of this problem already, especially because some people are familiar with it. I got two great basement guys if you guys ever need them. But Kenmore is known for that, something that you guys have to be mindful of. When it comes to pricing, this is going to be a little bit of a bump up from Cheektowaga. You're probably talking about 240s, 250s. If you're on certain streets in Kenmore though, this can bump up quite a bit closer to that $300,000 mark, right? These Kenmore homes have a lot of character, generally a porch off the front, right? Generally, you'll get a decent backyard, right? Again, it's that first suburb of Buffalo, so you're gonna get an okay size yard. You're not gonna get anything crazy per se. In some cases, you can get a smaller driveway. You will get a driveway for the most part, but the driveways are gonna be very narrow depending on where you are. The closer you kind of get to Kenmore, the closer you kind of get to Tonawanda, pushing this way, the driveways tend to get much bigger. But if you're closer in Kenmore over down in this section here, your driveway is going to be a little bit smaller. So that is something that you guys want to think about. Either way, the love of Kenmore is honestly the walkability and the things that it offers you as far as, again, very short drive inside the city going this way. And you have Tonawanda, which is the town that you're kind of in. So Kenmore is a village inside of Tonawanda. You can get to Tonawanda quick. Again, you can get to Cheektowaga this way very quick. Or again, you could get inside the city down this way, going into North Buffalo or Delaware Park very, very quickly. So you're sharing a lot of the same amenities as North Buffalo, but your taxes again are going to be a little bit higher. You got the city taxes to think about. You got the town of Tonawanda taxes to think about, and then Kenmore, you're going to get taxed on top of that as well too. So something to think about. Again, a nice central location when it comes to Kenmore. Only another thing that you have to think about when it comes to Kenmore is going to be the age. People in Kenmore tend to stay. You're going to see a lot more older couples, a lot more retirees inside the Kenmore area. Now, which makes this good over the last couple years is that unfortunately, those people start to pass away. Now, this is making for a lot more families coming inside. This is making for a lot more of the people who is not afraid to take on that fixer-upper and do some things to the area. So you're kind of looking at that changing of the guard in Kenmore as we speak right now. Unfortunately, again, people are passing away, or grandma, is moving into nursing home or back in with her family, back in with her children or so, which is making for that young couple or that person or a couple who's trying to start a family moving into Kenmore, or again, those people who are not afraid to take on grandma's house and make it into something for 2025. So a lot of changing out of guard in Kenmore, a lot of things to do. To me, it's a true walkability. A lot of the amenities and those inner city things are without being inside the actual city of Buffalo. This is what Kenmore can definitely offer you guys. Now let's get on to the biggest suburb we have, which is going to be Amherst. All right, let's talk about the famous, prestigious, bougie, up and coming, so many different words to describe this area, and it's because it's Buffalo's largest suburb. It's home to 100 and some odd thousand people, right? So let's kind of break this down real quick. And this won't be too long, I promise you guys. I won't hold you too long. It's so many different aspects to Amherst, right? You have Williamsville, right, which is the village of Williamsville. This is what everybody talks about when it comes to that walkability that we were just discussing next to Kenmore. Again, this is a lively area down here, and most people see Route 5, people on Buffalo see Main Street, right? This is where you have places like Bright Smith Brewery, the Irishman, Music on Main. You have Amherst Library there. You have Tops over there. You have the intersection of Harlem and Maine. You have so many different things going on inside of Williamsville. It's really a lot, right? This is a dope village, expensive to be in, but this is a very dope village. You also have the University of Buffalo, or also kind of Gettsville, right? Or Sweet Home, right? Sweet Home is the high school that you're going to go to around this area. Some people call it Gettsville, right? On the map it says Gettsville, but most people kind of blend in the Sweet Home kind of area with this around the University of Buffalo. So if you're looking to either work at UB or around UB, you just like that area, you're going to be in that kind of Sweet Home school district. You also have East Amherst, right? Getting into kind of Swarmsville, right? Most people just call this East Amherst. This is really where a lot of the more affluent people live, just to be honest with you, right? The more you go up north here, it's going to get very rural. Once you kind of get into this East Amherst area, you start to get to that country suburban type of feel. Around here, right, around Damon, let me just clear this up real quick, just so I can show you guys. Around Damon, right? This is coming pretty much right out of Cheektowaga. You can see the airport, kind of small down here, but this is coming right out of Cheektowaga, or what we call, this would be South Amherst, right? This is going to be that Snyder area. This is going to be that Eggersville area where a lot of people want to be, or that kind of 14226. Up here, you start to get into that 14051, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is 14221 or 14228. I can't remember off the top of my head. They kind of blend into each other, but this is where you kind of get into these different areas, right? Amherst is massive. You're gonna get some of everything. If you're talking about an old school Tudor, right, your colonials, your beautiful old school character type of homes, you're gonna want to be in a 14226. If you're talking about new builds, if you're talking about something big, 3,000, 4,000 square feet, you're gonna be in East Amherst, those more affluent areas, or over here in like that Gettsville is gonna be that middle of the pack. East Amherst is gonna be that mansion, or think of something like a mansion type of house there. 14221, 228, that's gonna be middle of the pack. So you can get anywhere from a decent sized ranch all the way up to something 2,500 square feet ish, right? What you also have to think about too is inside of Amherst, this, this is the school district where a lot of people want to send their babies statistically based on the ranks. I'm not pushing you guys there, right? It depends. I went to Cleve Hill, so I'm a big, I like Cheektowaga schools. Some people don't, right? But Amherst statistically is going to be one of those best ranked schools. Now, when it comes to Amherst schools, back in this 14226 area or that South Amherst area, you're going to be in Amherst High School, right? Around Williamsville Main Street area, this is going to be Williamsville South, right? When you're talking about going into East Amherst, this is going to be Williamsville East. Here is going to be Sweet Home. Sweet Home is nice because this is probably the most diverse suburban school we have. And then I believe, if I'm not wrong, this up here is going to be Williamsville North. Now, my circles are kind of generic there, but that's going to be the section. If I can find a true section of all of Williamsville, man, I'll throw it in right there, right? But your Williamsville, these are going to be your Williamsville school district or your Amherst school district as a whole, but there's different Williamsville schools. So if there's a specific Williamsville northeast or south that you want to send your child to, make sure you look at the map so that you can determine, we can move you inside that specific area so you can go to that specific school. Remember, Buffalo, especially in the suburbs, are based on school districts, not just so much, you live in Amherst so you can go to anyone. No, we are based on school districts, and you can be a block away. If you're inside that wrong district, you will not go to that school. So make sure, if you guys need to reach out to me, I'll find the map. But if you guys need or you guys really want to send your child to a specific school, make sure you let me know. We'll look inside that specific area. Okay. Now, Amherst, you're going to get some of everybody when it comes to Amherst. You're going to get the real bougie type of person. I mean, South Amherst is a little more diverse, or even around that Sweet Home School District area, just because when it comes to Sweet Home, you have Tonawanda, you pulling in from all sorts of different areas. But Williamsville, very high-ranking schools. Amherst is a good school, but that South Amherst, again, or Amherst Central High, is going to be next to Sweet Home, one of your most diverse kind of suburban schools that you have. Again, you can find a plethora of houses when it comes to Amherst. Very nice area. You have all your amenities around you. If you're looking, again, for something a little more wealth, or you want to be inside that kind of Williamsville school district, I would look, you're going to be a lot further removed. So going back inside the city, you're probably talking about 25 minutes up here, right? Maybe even 30 minutes. Depend if you're talking about pushing past East Amherst here. This is going to be more of your country suburban up here, staying down here, not going really above Gettsville here. This is going to be more of your true suburban here. So something to definitely, I spelled suburban wrong, Jesus. Suburban, oh no I didn't, suburban areas here. So something to definitely take note of, right? Let's get into Tonawanda. Again, I'll pronounce that for you guys. Tonawanda. Crazy, right? But let's talk about the town of Tonawanda, actually. The town of Tonawanda and the city of Tonawanda. So this is going to be the city right here, closer to Nyawanda Park. The town of Tonawanda, lately, no exaggerations, especially in the Green Acres North. Now, nobody calls it Green Acres, but it's just a town of Tonawanda. But specifically in this neighborhood, the Green Acres North neighborhood has been a hot spot over these last, I would say, 3 years, right? And it's really because of Niagara Falls Boulevard. So if you can look right here, Niagara Falls Boulevard, this strip of land right here, let me change my color real quick. right? This strip of land, or this coming off the 290 here, this strip, Niagara Falls Boulevard, really because of Consumer Square has made this place, I mean, just blow up crazy over these last few years. Now, you can get into that 250, 260 range all day long, but for years, I mean, over these last few years, the average was literally I would say about 220 to about 240-ish to get in here. The city of Tonawanda, for a very, very long time, the city has gotten a bad rap. Not too diverse route, right? The city of Tonawanda was actually years and years and years and years ago, was actually known as a sundown town. So if you guys don't know what that is, look it up. But the city of Tonawanda was definitely not very welcoming to everybody for a long time. The town, though, this has been a really a melting pot, to be honest with you, over these last few years. The thing about Tonawanda, though, especially inside the town, is you have a lot of ranches. This is like ranch galore here, no exaggeration. I mean, there's a ton of ranches when it comes to the town of Tonawanda. Some with basements, some without. So if you guys are looking inside of the Tonawandas, that's one thing I would definitely be mindful of, right? Because let's say it's been sitting on the market for, 14 weeks or 14 days or 3 weeks. It's probably a good guess that it has no basement. You probably just have a crawl space as an attic. And then to make matters worse, it's probably only 1,000 square feet or so, right? That doesn't fit everybody's criteria when it comes to looking, right? Especially if you guys have a family of 3 or 4, it's gonna be very, very tight. So be mindful, depending on what street you are on inside the town of Tonawanda, make sure you guys are paying attention if that has a basement or not. Or just call me and I'll be able to let you know for sure what's going on. But you can get a basement inside the Tonawanda, and when you do, it's a beautiful thing, because when it comes to basements inside of Buffalo, or especially the town of Tonawanda, they always extend the length of the house. What I mean by that is, if you have 1,500 square feet at the top, you're gonna have 1,500 square feet in your basement as well. Now, what people have been doing, and who is famous for this, is refinishing their basements down there. What that helps with, not only with square footage, but this also adds another layer to your house that's not classified inside of your tax records. So your assessment, you can add, let's say you do have that 1,500 square feet down in your basement, right? And you finish off the entire basement. Most people don't, but let's say you finish off 1,000 square feet of that basement with all your mechanics to one side, leaving that extra 500 square feet. You wash your dryer, your furnace, your hot water tank, your sub pump. If you cover all that up, that's 500 square feet. You got another 1,000 square feet for a man cave, or you can't really put a bedroom down there per se, or a bathroom down there per se. On a tax record, you can't, but you can, once you go to list it, you can, right? So that's something you want to think about. That adds on a lot of square footage. So you just turn that 1,500 square foot home into 2,500, or what it feels to be 2,500 square feet. And again, you have 1,000 square feet not on your tax record. So your taxes are going to be a little bit lower in that case, right? When it comes to square footage versus, or compared to your tax rate, or your square footage versus your tax rate there. So it's just something to think about, right? For you guys that's only want one level, your knees is getting bad, or you're up there in age, this could be a great spot for you guys. Now, to wrap this up, we're going to be talking about the last 2 different towns, which is going to be Clarence first, and then we'll get on down into Depew. Now, Clarence is going to be pretty quick. Here's what I'll tell you about Clarence. Clarence is a wonderful area. You're going to be easily 25 to 30 minutes away from downtown Buffalo, right? So it's just something that you have to know. Clarence is a country suburban feel all day long. I don't care who you talk to out there, who you talk to around the Buffalo area. Clarence is a country/suburban feel. You're going to get a splash of suburban. It's like, oh, I'm in the suburbs. And then immediately it's going to like, all right, everything is spread out here. Here is where a lot of people move to Clarence to really build, right? They're building out here. You're going to have a 1,500 square foot ranch next to a 3,000 square foot mansion, right? It's just a legit across the street. There's a lot of land in Clarence. Even if you look at it here, right? Even if you look at it, let me get rid of this. Even if you're looking at it here, right, on a map, it ain't nothing but pure grass around you, right? Ain't nothing but green out there. So if you're looking at that here, it's nothing but green. Clarence Center, this is where you kind of get a little bit more, if you will, suburban. Around Clarence itself is where, and that's actually a good point. Here's where you're gonna get more country here, right? Inside of Clarence Center is a little bit more suburban. You got a couple of shops and stuff like that in there. Compared to a city or like an Amherst, it ain't really nothing crazy going on. But this is where you're gonna get those two different mixes or two different feels, right? Clarence High Schools statistically always rank in the top one or two. Always, right? So it's a great school district, great place to be, but it's gonna be a little bit more of a chill, laid back, heavy environment out there. I'm talking about true country, suburban type of feel out there. When it comes to Clarence, though, the dope thing about Clarence is because they have all this land. What's nice is they have a whole lot of walking, biking, and even snowmobiling trails, which is very, very nice. And no exaggeration, if I was building, I'm building in Clarence. No exaggeration. It's tough to beat. Now, what I will say is you're gonna pay a hefty price tag living in Clarence. You're talking about $500,000 plus. Now, I know depending on where you're coming from, it's like Devontae. Come on, that's not expensive. For Buffalo, when the average price point is $230,000 across the entire county, that's expensive. That's expensive. Now, if you're building in Clarence, though, you're easily talking about $1 million plus. No, $1 million plus, easy if you want to build, right? But if you're talking about buy something existing, I will look. You're gonna be looking 600,000, 650, right? Price range. Average, I think it's about 500,000, 530,000 or something like that. It may have risen or dropped down. I haven't looked at the numbers in a while, but I mean, you're gonna spend some money living in Clarence. I'll say all that to say, it ain't a whole lot going on out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Outside of those few things. If you're a nature lover or you really want to be out, just by yourself, your own kind of destination, a little bit extra land for your dollar, Clarence is definitely going to be a place to be. If you're looking for nightlife or fun things to do inside the actual town, that's not going to be the place for you, just to be honest with you. The reason why I kept Depew last is because this sits so close to the border of North and South towns, but we'll just store it in this kind of section here. Depew is, again, one of those villages like Kenmore or Williamsville. Lancaster is going to be the town, right? Depew really splits between... So Depew here really splits between the Cheektowaga side. Oh my gosh, that arrow is terrible. Don't judge me, guys. And then the Lancaster side as well. It's more Lancaster than anything, but it does split between the two. Now, Depew is a very, very nice area. You talking about amenities? You have all the amenities that you can honestly think of when it comes to the Depew kind of Lancaster area here, right? It is nice. You have Dick Road and you have George Urban Boulevard. You also have Como Park Boulevard, which takes you right into Como Lake Park down here. You also have Stigma Park right inside your backyard. This is getting more into South Cheektowaga, as you can see here. But Depew is a nice... for the southern tier, kind of, or going into that southern direction, Depew would be the most centralized location outside of that North Cheektowaga area. You have everything you need inside of Depew. You do not have to leave this little area, which is super dope. And again, you have a lot of highways around you, or what you really have in Depew, which is even better, are cut-through streets. So Borden Road, Como Lake Park, North French. These are all main roads, but you don't have to hop on a highway, which is super, super nice, right? So Depew can really offer you that. The most thing Depew is famous for is, again, their finished basements. Smaller ranches over there, right? But your basements are generally finished in Depew for the most part. Or a lot of people in Depew tend to do is, because you don't find too many formal dining rooms all the time, especially with those ranches, with those all the bedrooms on, the one level. Most people have either knocked down that wall there, between that dining room if they had one in the living room, or just use the entire thing as a living room. And then a lot of people, the crazy part is they'll use their garage as a dining room, especially inside the summertime if they don't always park inside the garage. Because that is one thing about the Pew, you do get a lot of one car garages over here. You can get two cars, but a lot of one car garages, now that I think about it, inside the Depew area, right? So that is something you guys want to think about. But Depew is very nice. Again, you got Lawson Road, William over there. Again, a lot of major streets that's not on the highway that you can get in and around and get back and forth to very, very quickly. So I know this was a long video, but it's a lot to unpack in the Northtowns area. We'll save Lancaster for the South Towns, and we'll kind of start it off that way on the next one. But Depew has a lot going on. Cheektowaga, Amherst, Clarence, Tonawondas. I mean, you have a bunch of different northern suburbs to choose from depending on your price point. Again, that Amherst area going over to East Amherst and Clarence are going to be more expensive. South Amherst, very nice. Get back inside the city. Cheektowaga, centrally located. Kenmore, very nice. Just outside the city, literally a little bit more older homes, a lot more character, very, very walkable though. So each area has their different pros and cons. If you guys want to move into a specific area, here's what I'll recommend. Go watch our vlogs of that specific area, and then you'll get a better feel for the area, and then we can easily jump on a phone call, and then we'll start to get this process going from here on out. All right, so as always, my name is Devontae Davis, the local realtor in and around the Buffalo area. If you guys are moving here or looking to move here, make sure you guys hit us up with a call, email, text. You guys know we always respond. And as always, we will see you guys inside the next one.